Hello, everybody. I'm Tyler Ellison, and today I want to talk to you guys about a exercise you can all do at the end of your days, as you're wrapping up the night, maybe before you brush your teeth, before you're ready for bed. And the point of this exercise is to help you integrate whatever sort of life information you've been dealt that day. And when I say life information, I mean obstacles, situations, reoccurring events, things that seem to repeat themselves with different characters, but nevertheless still seem to happen in your life. And oftentimes, when we repeat the same event or when the same types of situations seem to present themselves over and over and over again, that is an indicator from yourself ultimately, but also from the universe, if that's what you want to call it, to take a look at these areas of your life. Because whatever's going on there is trying to get your attention. And that's why it keeps happening over and over and over again, no matter what it is. Maybe you're constantly late to work. Maybe you're constantly being aggressive to people. Maybe people are constantly being aggressive to you, it seems like. Maybe you got your feelings hurt by somebody. Maybe a lot of people are hurting your feelings. Maybe you keep having anxiety around a particular situation or a particular person. No matter what the case is, these are all things that life is handing you because it wants your attention. It's showing you there's something within these situations you need to look at. And every day is different. Every day we're having different experiences with different people. And because of that, we have different lessons to pay attention to each day. Now, oftentimes what happens is if people aren't aware of this and they're not addressing the types of things that keep repeating themselves, the same situations, the same seemingly similar outcomes and all that stuff, these things kind of tend to continue, and it can just be something that's a repeating theme throughout somebody's life for a very long time. But if you use these things the way they're meant to be used, you can actually transform the experience where, one, you're not going to have it really anymore, and when similar characters and incidents happen, you'll notice you'll have an entirely different experience to a seemingly similar situation. And because of that, you'll be able to actually move through it in a completely different way. And oftentimes you'll never have to re-experience that, whatever it might be, that uncomfortable thing, that repeating life theme over and over and over again. And we all have them. There's just some things that we definitely feel have consistently reappeared in our lives. I know I have my own. A lot of mine's lately been procrastinating, and I recently feel I've discovered exactly what the cause of that is and why that keeps presenting itself. So I know for me, the information I received on guidance through that, I'm going to implement ASAP, see if I get a different result, and I have a very confident feeling I actually will. So I want to talk real quickly about how to do this and how to do this every day to utilize it and get the most maximum benefit. Because through doing this exercise, you are ultimately growing and learning at a rapid, fast, integrated way that will help you to become more of yourself, but also feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more enthusiastic and excited about living life. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the responsibilities. I'm just going to give it a broad category. We're just going to call this section the responsibilities of the ego, the responsibilities of the self, but we'll call it the ego for right now. That's category number one. Now, the responsibilities of the ego. I'm going to take a blank, well, this isn't a blank piece of paper. I'm going to take this piece of paper, I'm going to begin to write on it, and we're going to label it, sorry about that, we are going to label it the responsibilities of the ego. Let's just write that down. You need a lined sheet of paper and just write that at the top. Now, what I want you to do, and do this every night, and just watch what happens. Every night, write down the responsibilities you've assigned yourself. all of them. So for example, write down whatever you feel your responsibilities are. Examples might be, what's my job? What are my responsibilities? What are my jobs in life? Make money, make people happy, be on time, never be late, always eat good food, make sure I'm never getting ripped off, make sure I get a good parking spot, and so on and so forth. Just write down every job you've assigned yourself. Write down every single one. And keep going. You'll have different jobs for different days, you'll notice. But every time this happens, just write all these things down at the end of every day. When you've completed your list, when you think you've written down every single job you have, draw a little line after the last thing on that list. And right after that, write down the following. You just see what happens. Do this if you want to try it out. I've noticed to be very effective, and it takes a lot of pressure, mental and sometimes physiological pressure off of myself. Write down after that line, my only job is to perceive reality. Now what we're doing here, and remember, do this every single night for a while, and you'll notice some rapid differences. And the reason these differences come into play is we're looking at the ego, the personality construct. Now, the only true job, the only thing the ego can actually do is perceive reality. That is it. It has no other capability because it's not designed to do anything else. The ego is just meant for you to observe what's going on, for you to take in through your senses what sort of external stimuli you're perceiving. The only job of the ego, the only thing it's literally designed to do. People feel pressured, weighed down, downright miserable sometimes, stressed out, because they've given their ego different jobs, different responsibilities. And if they're giving it these things it's not designed to do, it's weighing them down with all these responsibilities they can't possibly handle. So the idea here is at the end of every single day, just write down all the responsibilities, whatever your responsibilities were that day. Just write them all down. At the end of the list, write my only responsibility is to perceive reality. Eventually, you're going to let go of these responsibilities. That's not to say you are going to immediately shirk, the things that you have to do in your life or you choose to do in your life, such as, be on time, be nice to people. All of that stuff. It's not that you're going to stop doing that and your life's going to fall apart. What's going to happen is you're no longer going to have to micromanage and do all of these things. You'll notice these things will begin to happen automatically with less effort because they're happening anyway. They're happening absolutely anyway. You don't have to take responsibility for making sure each thing happens. I know it sounds kind of scary, but these things are happening anyway. Don't make it your responsibility. Just live your life. And these, again, are just suggestions. But the reason I'm saying this is many of us have responsibilities that we're not designed to actually handle. Because, it's the ego is just a construct. It's an illusion. It's this made-up personality that we use to see the outside world. All it can do is see the outside world. So just try this list out and see what happens. Now, that was the first exercise. The second exercise we are going to do is called Discovering Your Belief Systems. Exciting. Now, for this one, all you have to do is think back to everything during the day that caused you to feel a negative emotion. Pick maybe 3 things if there was a lot that day. Just pick 3 things. Or if you feel excited to, pick more. But just pick 3 things. Now on the top of your paper, write down whatever your subject is. Write down, my boss yelled at me. If that was what it was today. Or somebody yelled at me. Someone yelled at me. Write that at the top of the paper. And that's going to be our subject. And now after that, below that, in a big list formation, write down every adjective, every definition you have for somebody yelled at me. It might be, somebody yelled at me. It means I'm worthless. It means I'm a bad person. It means I'm a bad employee. It means I can't do anything right. It means I'm always wrong. It means I'm going to get hurt. It means I'm scared. Just write down every single definition that you can find for your subject. In this case, someone yelled at me. When you found your last definition, and you'll know when you found it because either your mind's just going to go silent, you've run out of definitions, you no longer have a new definition for it, or it'll start to repeat itself. You'll start repeating the same definitions. So once one of those two things happens, or something else will happen in particular, just draw a line underneath it. And from here, just redefine the situation. Somebody yelled at me. This person, and this can be your new definition, this is what I would personally put down. Somebody yelled at me. They're showing me an example of what I don't prefer to do. And it somehow serves me positively. I just don't know how yet. And just leave it like that. And you'll notice the next time somebody yells at you, those other things, those other definitions aren't going to be present. Instead, you're going to have the new definition present. And you will have an entirely different experience. Now, if you notice that somebody yells at you down the road and it's a new situation, it's a new day, and you still have some sort of emotions coming up that you say you don't prefer, that means you have more definitions there. Perhaps it has to do with what it means if that particular person yells at you. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's someone you look up to, something like that. You might have to look at what your definitions for that particular person are, and then at the end of it, redefine that person as just a member of your family, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And the idea is at the end of every day, just pick 3 things or maybe more that you definitely felt negative emotions about. Or you felt negative emotions about, or perhaps you had an experience you didn't prefer. It's a reoccurring experience. Well, define your choices, define and redefine exactly like what your behavior is. And let's just see if it changes. So these are the 2 things to do every day at the end of your day for about 5 minutes. Just spend some time doing this. Finding the responsibilities, the jobs of the ego, and just restating your only jobs to perceive reality. And then the next exercise, discovering your belief systems or uncovering your belief systems. Just find 3 situations that caused you negative emotions, list all their definitions, and then once you've gotten them all down on paper, just redefine them as something positive, see what happens. I guarantee this is going to help you to excel through many of life's obstacles, and you will most likely have extremely different experiences. And yeah, these are just things that I do as much as I can. I notice it's the stuff. It definitely makes life exciting. It makes me feel really good to do it. And I mean, it helps. It just helps me in general. So I would encourage you to give it a shot if you feel called to. Again, you have nothing to lose, but everything in the world to gain. So have fun with all of this stuff. And my name is Tyler Ellison. I will see all of you some other time.